Hi everybody, I'm Heather Deniston with Well Fit and Fed, and today I'm talking a little bit about my own health journey. I know the teachers and mentors in my life, sometimes it's helpful to know where they came from so that it just doesn't feel like they've had it figured out or know what they're doing all the time and never had the same struggles I had. And so I want to share with you today a little bit about my background and where I came from. When I was young, I was largely left to my own devices. I had two sisters that were much older than I was, and a mom who was, she allowed me to be very independent. And I had a father who traveled a lot, worked a lot, and so I kind of hung out on my own. And I never thought it bothered me, but what I didn't realize is that I actually was very lonely, and I sought solace in food. And I had access to some discretionary income, and so a couple times a week I would head downtown to the corner store and load up on copious, crazy amounts of junk food. I mean, I'm talking amounts that would make your head spin, and what would make your head spin even more is how quickly I would put it in my mouth and scarf it all down. And so I'd literally ride home and go in my room and shut the door, and I kid you not, I even sometimes went in the closet and shut the door and ate this ridiculous amount of food. And so I was a closet binger before I even knew what that was. And one of the issues was there was no external problem because I was a gymnast and I was working out about 20 hours a week. And so I did not put on any weight, even though I was probably ingesting about 3,000 calories a day. And most of it processed and sugary and terrible for my system, which I didn't know at the time. And then my mom decided I was going to go to boarding school, which was a wonderful idea, actually, and I loved it, and I'm so grateful for having had the opportunity. But boarding school to an undiagnosed overeater is like sending a cocaine addict into a cozy crack den. It is a recipe for disaster. And disaster it was, because I had access to so much food any time of the day. You could sneak food so easily, and I started putting on the weight because I was no longer doing gymnastics or any sports or anything. And I put on the weight and put on the weight and put on the weight. And by the time I left high school and started college, I was about 175 pounds. And by the end of year 2, I was close to 235. So there were some big problems happening, and my health was starting to be impacted. And between second year of college and by the time I graduated chiropractic school, I was diagnosed with several different issues. So I was diagnosed with some arthritic conditions, IBS, thyroid conditions, digestive issues, food sensitivities, all sorts of problems that are directly related to the poor way I was nourishing my body. I was freaking out, obviously, and I was trying everything, every fad diet, every fast, every restrictive thing, and I was getting more and more miserable because nothing was changing. And I was working out, but what I didn't know at the time is I wasn't working out effectively for the type of body I have and to increase lean body mass and help decrease fat body mass. And so it was super frustrating, and I didn't have anybody to speak into my life or share with me or help me or guide me. And so it was very, very lonely, and I got very depressed. And it wasn't until I hit chiropractic school that I started to be surrounded by people who knew what they were doing, who were demonstrating what it was to live a healthy and well lifestyle. And that was my beginning, is I just became a sponge. I started learning from everybody around me, including my professors and my classmates. Started just one step at a time, learning how to eat properly, learning how to exercise, and I just immersed myself in it. And so 25 years later, I'm still at it. Certainly not perfect in any means, by any means, and I still fall off. I still have bad days. I still have real bingey days that are not healthy. But the idea is that the percentage has changed, and what used to be 80% of the time complete derail is now only 20% of the time, and I'm able to snap back easier. I can make more good decisions than bad decisions, and I have a heightened awareness about what's going on when I am not in the zone. But the one thing I want to get back to is that when I was really heavy, it wasn't about the weight. It was about what that weight represented. And that weight represented the fact that I had no idea how to eat. I had no nutrition skills. even though Teen Magazine or Vogue or whatever was telling me, if you just read this article, you'll have it nailed. I had no really fitness prowess either. I mean, I just kind of watched what other people did and mimicked it, but it wasn't what was right for my chemistry, my metabolism, my kind of strength profile. And so I was throwing stuff at it and just missing by a mile. And the other thing is that I had a serious emotional attachment to food, and I was using it for everything but fuel. I was using it for social, to feel more comfortable in social situations. I was using it to feel loneliness or just emptiness or anger. I was using food to, as a friend. If I was just kind of, I would stay home and eat rather than go out and be with friends. And so I was using it as a friend instead of fuel. There were so many things that it was representing that was showing up as weight loss, but needed to be addressed as a different problem. And that's the main thing I want to talk about today, is just that fact, is that when there is a weight issue or some health issue that comes out as a sign or a symptom, we've got to look beneath that and figure out what is it that is causing that. Not just try to, band-aid the whole problem. And so I wanted to share with you today my story and where I've come from, and the fact I still struggle, fall off regularly, crawl back on. I still get it. It just happens less often, less intensely, doesn't last as long, those, sessions where you're just not in the zone anymore. And so I've come a long way, but I still have issues just like everybody else. And the other thing that we talked about is that when we are dealing with weight or any other health issue, that it's often a sign of a deeper issue and we need to explore that. Okay, that's all I wanted to share today. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.